First, we go to Anfield for the Merseyside derby between Liverpool and Everton. A packed house teeming with excitement and anticipation. A cold but fine day. What more could anyone wish for, including your commentator, John Watson?
The fact that today's all-ticket crowd at Anfield is almost 20,000 up on the attendance for last Wednesday's European Cup tie says something about the mentality of British football, but rather more about the tradition of this great fixture. And of the 8 players sampling a Merseyside derby for the first time, 2 are goalkeepers of widely differing backgrounds. Everton's Jim Arnold didn't come into league football until he was 27. This is his first season in Division 1, but he can still point to 2 Wembley Cup finals when he was playing for Stafford Rangers in the FA Trophy. And at the other end, Liverpool's fans are still making up their minds about Bruce Grobbelaar, whose early experiences included a spell in the Rhodesian Army. But succeeding Ray Clements requires a discipline all of its own. And after a long chat with manager Bob Paisley following the European Cup match, Grobbelaar intends to curb an impetuous streak which has worried Liverpool's back 4. One of those defenders, number 3 Mark Lawrenson, is playing his first derby, as are number 8 Ronnie Whelan and number 9 Ian Rush. An unchanged team means the only position for David Johnson is substitute, and that's the best that Craig Johnston has achieved in the first team so far, because today the expensive former Middlesbrough player is in the reserves derby match at Goodison Park. So too is Everton's Peter Eastoe on his way back from injury, and his absence, together with that of Walsh and Ross, means Everton too are unchanged. The sale of Mike Thomas to Brighton means that Howard Kendall has bought 7 and sold 8 players in just 4 months, and explains why only 4 of today's team took part in the last derby in March. Stevens, Ferguson and Ainscough all being new to this occasion. The referee is Durham policeman Peter Willis. The 125th League derby between the 2 Merseyside clubs starts with Everton just ahead of Liverpool in the First Division table. But they've only won 1 of the last 18 league matches between the 2 clubs, Everton, although they did knock Liverpool out of the FA Cup last season. And as always, a din of noise. Liverpool perhaps hoping to impose some of their European style on the match and calm it down at times. Here's Ray Kennedy to Mark Lawrenson. Into Rush, and here's offside McDermott. Offside Terry McDermott, no goal. Nicely worked move in that Mark Lawrenson came inside, Dalglish took a defender away, it went into Rush, through to McDermott, but no doubt the flag was up for offside. Stevens. A bit tight, the return. Alan Hansen seeing plenty of the ball and using the space in front of him well. He's got Rush on the left wing. Hansen. McDermott closing in, and the header dips over. Very good service, and very good anticipation too. The service from Hansen, who's made so much good use of space as he's come forward in the early stages. And McDermott anticipating the ball over the defender's head, but his header too just looped over. Did very well there to find O'Keefe, but he had 2 to beat, and here's Hansen. Oh, that's well played by Alan Hansen. Now who's going to have it? McDermott is. It's going to come to Dalglish. Good stop by Jim Arnold, away by Lyons. McDermott's pass took a deflection, kindly for Dalglish. Arnold saved, thankfully for Everton. Well, the goalkeeper will be glad to get his first true save of the afternoon out the way. It's down sharply to block the shot. Lawrenson. Ferguson. Well, that's nicely done to McMahon, and here's O'Keefe. They've got players forward here, and a flying catch. And the throw too from Grobbelaar, giving Liverpool the chance to break out quickly. Neil, Dalglish, well played. Whelan, Rush. Grobbelaar does specialise in this type of intersection. Very spectacular and very important there too. There were two Everton players waiting. Bailey. Oh, and Grobbelaar had begun to come then, which is one of the problems, and Thompson turned round and waved him back. And you saw a misunderstanding there, or the glimpse of one, which has been worrying Liverpool in defence. Grobbelaar does tend to come off his line somewhat impetuously at times, but the delay is because Ray Kennedy is injured. Ray Kennedy, in fact, needs attention, and so I think does Mike Lyons. There have been two fairly heavy challenges in the last couple of minutes, and the referee is letting play go on. Dalglish, and Lyons wasn't sure, and Dalglish is in. Is it a penalty? No, not given. Referee Peter Willis shook his head very, very firmly. Dalglish, who wins so many penalties for Liverpool, on this occasion is unlucky. Mike Lyons made the challenge, Dalglish went down, but the referee never had a moment's doubt. Now the substitution will be made. Ray Kennedy hobbles off, and ex-Evertonian David Johnson comes on. Lawrenson. That's a good run by Lawrenson. Oh, and they all arrived together. McDermott, who threw himself at that, and just wide. Kenny Dalglish is being booked for something he said to the referee. Well, that was a good piece of play again by Lawrenson from the back. McBride. Well, he had three altogether there to get past. And the end of a hectic first half. No score. Liverpool doing more of the attacking, but Steve McMahon outstanding in midfield for Everton. And an eventful first half in particular for Kenny Dalglish. Had a penalty appeal turned down. He then had to come back more into midfield when Kennedy went off with a calf muscle injury, and then Dalglish was booked by the referee, presumably for something he said. Many people at Anfield think that Ronnie Whelan may eventually succeed Ray Kennedy in this left-sided midfield position. Today he has a chance in the second half, now that Kennedy's gone off injured, to show what he can do in that role. So Everton start the second half. Liverpool now attacking the Kop end. There have been 9 draws in the last 16 meetings, and 6 of those have been 0-0. On by Dalglish, and then by Johnson. And that throw by John Bailey appeared to be very close to the line, and the linesman decides it was over when Jim Arnold collected it, and it's a corner to Liverpool. Oh, Whelan with a shot, Dalglish! Tremendous strike by Ronnie Whelan. Great finish by Kenny Dalglish. Liverpool in front. After 2 minutes of the second half, look at the way Whelan cracked that. Jim Arnold couldn't hold it. Kenny Dalglish went in, and that's 1-0. Dalglish only his second league goal in very nearly a year. And Everton find themselves stung in Liverpool's first attack at the Kop end. All because that throw-in by Bailey was apparently behind the line when it went back to his goalkeeper. Now David Johnson in pursuit. Little push by him, surely. Referees signalled that was the case. Well, what a start then for Ronnie Whelan in the second half. 20 years old, Republic of Ireland international, playing his first Merseyside derby. His shot there set up the chance. And when it came back off the goalkeeper, Dalglish didn't hang around. Ferguson on, here's Lodge. And here's McBride. Right across and over. Well, Joe McBride found some space there inside the Liverpool penalty area, curled the cross, and it's on the roof of the net. Free kick to Liverpool. Dermot to Souness. That's awkward as David Johnson came in. Corner. Mark Lawrenson has gone onto the near post, number 3. Phil Neal is also in the penalty area. It's played short to Souness. McDermott. Oh, here's a chance again, perhaps for Dalglish. Oh! He's got his second, and the Kop are going wild. Look at those Liverpool players. There's a fan in there. Liverpool are 2 up, and Dalglish can do nothing wrong. Terry McDermott put that ball through. Dalglish was behind the defence, but McMahon tried to reach him. His finish was clinical. 2 goals in the space of 5 minutes for Kenny Dalglish. And Liverpool take a firm hold on the 125th League derby. The only consolation for Everton perhaps being the fact that Liverpool have been known in recent weeks to concede a 2-goal lead. They were 2 up, you may recall, in Amsterdam against Alkmaar, and it ended 2-2. But Everton have got a huge job on here now. This is Rush, and now it's Whelan, the 2 comparatively new players combining for Liverpool. This is Ronnie Whelan, and Rush again. Third newcomer to this fixture, Lawrenson. Good cross. Oh, and this Johnson offside. Offside, no goal. Johnson just realised he's disappointed, as indeed are the Kop behind him. But when Lawrenson went down the left and curled that ball in, the linesman was flagging against David Johnson, whose flying header went in. So, 2 goals for Liverpool and 2 disallowed this afternoon. McDermott, Lodge. Tussle with Souness, McMahon gets involved as well. Lodge drives the ball against Souness's legs and gets pushed away by his own player Higgins, and the referee, again feeling that tempers are getting frayed. Graham Souness, who he wants to speak to. Everton's free kick. Looking for Lyons. Who stays forward now for the throw. Intercepted by Whelan. Oh dear me, there's an incident off the ball there over on the far side, right in front of the linesman. Phil Thompson going, and Eamon O'Keefe is the Everton player involved, and he left Ronnie Whelan on the ground. And referee Peter Willis has got no option here. The ball had gone, and Eamon O'Keefe reacted violently on Ronnie Whelan. And the linesman had an excellent view of that, and I should imagine would be in a position to tell the referee exactly what he saw. Ronnie Whelan, Howard Kendall's on the line, and I fancy that O'Keefe may have been sent off. The referee pointed towards the dressing room. Howard Kendall is protesting to the linesman on this side. Certainly O'Keefe is coming off. There was a double sending off in the derby here 2 years ago, McDermott and Stanley, and now O'Keefe has gone for Everton. Certainly at the moment, both teams are down to 10 men. Here's Thompson. Neil. Souness, it's getting very, very rough out there now. Whelan is still receiving attention from the trainer over on the far side. So Everton, 2 goals down. Are down to 10 men. Oh, look at this now. There's some heat down from that corner. Now Howard Kendall wants to bring on Alan Bailey. And I think it may be in place of Nick Ferguson. Bear in mind there are players short anyway, so we'll have to wait for this substitution to be made now as the referee talks to John Bailey about cooling down. Now, there are going to be 2 things happening here in pretty quick succession, because on one side of the field, Bailey wants to come on for Everton in place, I think, of Ferguson, and Ronnie Whelan has just come back on the far side for Liverpool, having received attention, prolonged attention, following the retaliation on him by Eamon O'Keefe, which got O'Keefe sent off. But the referee is waiting because Howard Kendall is holding a conference as to who's going to come off, and in the end I think it's going to be Ainscough. Now David Johnson. Neil's cross, that's awkward. Dalglish coming in. Referee's already blown. So just to recap what's happened here, Everton have lost O'Keefe, sent off, and they've brought Bailey on, number 12, the fair-haired player, also making his first appearance in a Merseyside derby. He's come on in place of Alan Ainscough. Watch. And here's Ferguson. Oh, Robillard appeared to be going the wrong way. What an extraordinary save. Well, the important thing is he caught it. It was Everton's best effort of the afternoon. And I think we might see a rather unorthodox save here. The ball played forward for Nick Ferguson, who hit it with his right foot, and Robillard seemed to catch it over his left shoulder. So Ferguson foiled, and Robillard happy. So the match simmering, to say the least, but the score still 2-0 to Liverpool, with that 2 goals in 5-minute spell early in the second half, and Everton with only 10 men now, trying to do something about it as John Bailey comes forward, but makes a present of that to Phil Neal. And here's Souness, and he's got a chance to get McDermott going, and he's onside, and it's 4 against 2. Look at this for outnumbering the opposition. Dalglish plays it on, and there's the shot from Johnson, and Johnson, Rush was it? It seemed to go in off Rush. "74 minutes gone, 3-0 to Liverpool." A series of ricochets. David Johnson had the first chance. It was McDermott on the right who played the ball inside. It then went on to Kenny Dalglish. He saw 2 players to his left. One was number 12, David Johnson. Arnold saved. It came back. The defender, Johnson, Rush, goal. The score is now 3-0. McBride. Not a bad cross, Mike Lyons far post. Johnson again, Souness. Number 4, Higgins. Well, Ian Rush's goal-scoring record is becoming quite extraordinary. He didn't know very much about that one, but he's now scored 9 goals this season in 8 games, and one of those he came on as a substitute. Offside. 15 minutes to go, and Liverpool building up here one of the most convincing derby match performances of recent years. Ferguson. Oh, here's McBride. Block was by Lawrenson. It hit Whelan, who cleared it. Dalglish. Oh, they're tearing them apart now. Rush on his way again. Here's Souness. What a good stop by Jim Arnold. Ian Rush opening up Everton on their right side. Cutting in from that left-hand flank. And Graham Souness was the player it was meant for. Number 11, his strike, and Jim Arnold was behind it. Not actually too difficult to save, perhaps, seeing it again. That's Lodge playing it in for Bailey. Tries to get back to retrieve it, and has. Lyons is playing well up for Everton now in desperation. He's on the far post. That's a free kick against Graham Souness. So is there time for the 10 men to eke something in the way of consolation out of this disappointing match from an Everton point of view? Oh, there's a chance there. It's gone through. Ferguson. Robillard disappointed perhaps to see that Ferguson effort go past him, but it's a goal back for Everton. Ferguson 6th in the last 7 matches, as he comes in here with a header which Robillard seemed to have and only helped over his own goal line. That came in the 82nd minute and makes the score 3-1. The official attendance figure is 48,861, and that's the first time since 1951 that a derby match has drawn fewer than 49,000 people. There's John Bailey. Plenty of Everton players underneath this. Ferguson's coming in, and here's McBride with a chance. Couldn't get his shot in, and Grobbelaar, where on earth is he? Well, he's back on his line now, but he got all mixed up. McMahon. Lyons is the referee as we go into time added on for stoppages. John Bailey. And that one came off Mike Lyon's head. It was hooked out by Mark Lawrenson. Grobbelaar's having a dicey period. He came for that and never made it. The ball came off Mike Lyon's head, and it was Mark Lawrenson whose long legs intervened on the line. Lodge. So once again, the Merseyside derby produces plenty of passion. 4 goals, a sending off, but only underlines that in this city, Liverpool on this form are still very much in the supremacy. Ian Rush got on the end of the 3rd goal. Kenny Dalglish got the 2 that mattered mostly by putting Liverpool in charge. Ferguson got one back, but the O'Keefe sending off left Everton with only 10 men. They tried to save the match from an impossible position, but Dalglish had already done the damage, and Liverpool go back above Everton in the First Division table thanks to a 3-1 win.
Well, strangely there, Liverpool's enforced substitution seemed to have quite a bearing on the result. Kenny Dalglish revelled in the extra space that came his way as a result of withdrawing from the front line. He notched a couple of goals which will do no harm at all to Liverpool's chances of winning their customary trophy or two, or Kenny's confidence either.
The confidence that I need is that the manager picked me, and if the manager picks me, that's good enough for me. Obviously, because I've scored 2 goals doesn't mean to say that I'm going to score every week now, but if I keep getting into the positions, obviously something's going against sometime, and I was a bit fortunate today.
You talk about confidence. It's interesting that a player of your experience, coming up to your 3rd World Cup now, you still depend a lot on confidence to produce your best form.
Confidence is what it's all about for every player. If you're confident, you're quicker in your brain, and that's the main thing. That's where you get your extra yards from. I mean, I'm not the quickest player, but if I'm confident, my mind will be quick, and I can maybe see things.